Hello and welcome to this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Why is this show called this, you may ask? So I'll tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make firm establish. So my guest and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And of course, I do like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I'll introduce you to my returning guest, Anna Frolik. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to both of us to connect with like-minded people. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Ray, and I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy. And I'm a spiritual guide and healer, passionate about helping you reconnect with your divine presence and step into your purpose. Through angelic Reiki, guided meditations, and exploring past and future lives, I support you in healing your past and creating a soul-aligned future. My journey has taught me that with the right tools and a guidance, we can all connect to our higher selves, embrace transformation, and live a life of abundance and fulfillment. Now, each episode of this show covers various themes for your journey, a mini guided meditation or angel oracle card reading with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's returning guest, Anna Frolik, about the ancient elemental wisdom of the new earth. Now, Anna is an intuitive guide, inspirational author, artist, and the founder of Wonderland Publishing. Over the past 15 years, she's been on a journey of deep self-discovery, integrating ancient soul wisdom and tapping into memories of past and parallel lifetimes. These experiences have allowed her to connect with the elemental realms, a fascinating world that inspires much of her work. Through her teachings and creative endeavors, Anna helps others reconnect with their inner magic, live authentically from the heart, and anchor into the wisdom needed to co-create with the new earth. Now, currently, Anna is working on her latest creation, the Oracle of the Magical Fairy Forest, a new card deck inspired by her connection to the elemental realms, her human adventures, and the transformative wisdom she has embraced along her journey. Her work focuses on themes such as reclaiming the magic of the inner child, living with authenticity, and liberating a true self to create a more joyful and abundant life. As the founder of Wonderland Publishing, Anna also supports soul-inspired business owners and creatives in bringing their own Oracle cards decks to life. Passionate about empowering others to embrace their gifts, Anna encourages her clients to dream big and make an impact by sharing their unique magic with the world. And I've seen some of the decks that Anna and her company have created, and they are absolutely amazing. So without further delay, hello, Anna, and welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
Hi, Ray. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here once again.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant to have you back. So before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Anna and I want to be part of the conversation. So please don't be shy. And Christiana is here already. Hi, ladies. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us and saying hello, Christiana. So Anna, why don't you remind us about your journey and how this ancient knowledge can guide us in anchoring in the new earth?
Okay, well, this is a big question, a big topic. But I was just feeling into what we might want to talk about today, a little bit earlier today. So I feel like I'm just going to go with
Yeah.
the flow and just maybe channel through some of what wants to come through today. I'm also going to say this is a bit of a leap for me because I haven't really talked publicly about this in a very long time. For the last 5.5 years, I've been very busy helping my clients create their own card decks and publish their work. And so this is the first deck that I'm creating for myself in a very long time. And I just felt that it needed to be an elemental deck, and specifically it's going to be a fairy deck. And I do know I have a lot to share. I've been spending so much time in the last 15 years or so, connecting with the other realms and learning a lot about my own roots in the elemental realms and other realms, and like so many different worlds. And but I just feel really close to the fairies and to the elementals specifically. And I've been feeling like there's more that wants to come back and come through. So I'm really excited to be working on this deck with my amazing illustrator. Her name is also Anna. And yeah, I'll share some links maybe later where you can check out a little bit of what we're working on right now. We don't have a lot to share yet, but where you can learn more.
It will be good. I mean, I loved in the last few years when you used to those live videos you did when you were out walking in nature and the woods, and some of the sort of like the energy that came from those videos that you were creating. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, that's also a big part, I think, of what we're going to talk about today. I really feel so connected to nature, and as I told you earlier before we went live with this conversation, I recently moved to Ontario from British Columbia, and like there, I lived on the West Coast for more than 10 years, and the nature there, just everything feels so magical, and there's so much elemental energy, and that feels very, very aligned with my own soul essence. But yeah, that's definitely a big part of what the elementals are here to teach us to, or more like remind us, because we all have that within ourselves already. So the subtitle of the deck, I mean, it might still change, but right now I'm working with ancient elemental wisdom for the new earth. So we're really combining that really ancient soul wisdom that all of us carry within us. And we have different elements that we all represent, but also bringing it like into something new that we're creating. So we're not going back to how we used to live, but we're taking all of our wisdom, and that's for everyone. You too, maybe you work more with the angelic realms, and yeah, and we all have those pieces of wisdom and and a level of soul experience that we're bringing into all of our newer lifetimes as well. And I feel like there's a lot that we can learn from the fairies and the elementals that we can anchor into what we're creating now. But definitely one thing that they're here to remind us is that nature really has everything that we need, and there's definitely a movement towards realigning with our more natural or most natural way of living and being and creating. And that's a big part of all the work that I do and have done in the last, so many years. But this is always a good question we can ask to guide ourselves to what would nature do? Because anything that we do that is aligned with nature, that supports nature, also supports us, and that's healthy for the environment, is always also healthy for us, and the other way around. And I might just have to apologize. We are dog sitting right now. I don't know if you can hear all the noises right now. The dogs are really excited.
See, this shows that the show is live, and we accept all animals and energies onto the show. And Mawaka is here and says, "Hi, Ray. So nice to meet you, Anna." And Christiana says, "I love my angels. I'm so grateful to have them, but still find myself stuck in life, not knowing what I'm actually here for." And I think that's the thing that a lot of us have. Have issues with, or we're not sure about how we're doing it. And I think things are changing. People are wanting to know more and more about it. So how can sort of like the wisdom of the elementals really help us with that?
Yeah, so through that lens, I would say the first thing that always comes to mind is we need to stop overthinking things and come back into our hearts more. That's one of those pieces that have been coming through for me for so many years. I also have been doing a lot of work with human design in the last 5 years, and that kind of goes in the same direction. That reminder that, well, here in this world right now, in our society, most of us have been taught to operate from our minds so much and to figure things out logically and um, yeah, being more in that structured way of being and also following a lot of the rules and everything that we've been taught by society. And yeah, I feel like the elementals are really good at reminding us to live from our hearts more, and they have a really beautiful way of doing that in a really embodied way too. They're really connected to the spiritual side, but also to the physical side of reality. Um, and also the other thing is they know how to really be authentic. Like they don't live in that type of society where it's all about following rules or fitting in, or like they're able to really express themselves authentically and be themselves, and they can voice their own truth, but also do that in a very non-judgmental way, and they have a way of really, yeah, living in a space of love as well. um yeah, but to come back to the question, I feel one of the most important things when I coach clients and when I work with clients in a one-on-one setting or in groups as well, like one question I'll always ask is like, what's actually really calling you? What feels really good to you? What feels really exciting? Um, like if you go beyond just asking, what do I need to do to make a living? What do I need to do to make money and all that? What if you didn't have any of those limitations or obligations that you're maybe feeling stuck in because you feel like you don't have any other choice? Or so what if you were totally free, because you always are. That's the truth. What if there were no limitations holding you back from doing exactly what fills you with the most joy every single day? What would you actually be doing with your time every single day? And yeah, then going from there. And often it's not so much about figuring out what we're supposed to be doing, because then we're really coming from that place of something else outside of us is telling us what we should be doing, but actually really coming back to ourselves. And so what would actually feel really good to me? And then it's really more about giving ourselves permission to fully pursue that. I hope that answers your question. I know we could go a lot deeper here, but I think that's a really important piece.
Yeah, no, that is that is quite important. And Christiana says that they've also studied learned human design as well. And also says I wouldn't worry about surviving and paying bills. There you go. So so that's what if you were living your highest, you wouldn't worry about surviving and paying bills. And I think that's for a lot of people, that is one of the biggest things, that we wouldn't be surviving, we wouldn't be paying bills, we would just be living to our truest potential that we could actually live to. So how did you start getting connected with elementals? I mean, because it's easy to talk about it, and we all know go out in nature, but how did you actually start really connecting with them and getting the information and the wisdom that you're sharing now?
Yeah, I remember that quite vividly. So about 15 years ago, that's when I really started opening my connection to the angelic realms initially, and that had been part of my journey for a very long time. I remember growing up as a child, already having that fascination with the angelic realms and really wanting to connect with beings from the other realms. And yeah, so about 15 years ago, my gifts really opened up, and I started communicating with the angels. And then yeah, so I think I connected with a new friend, and she was really into talking to fairies, and she was really connected to those realms. And then I got more curious about that part, because I did feel a connection. Like I'd always loved fairy tales, and yeah, just felt that connection to the, yeah, fairies and other beings maybe too, but it wasn't so conscious. But then I remember just wanting to learn more about that connection, because I felt like it was more than just beings on the other realms, but that was more like part of my own soul history as well. And so I remember going into meditation, and it was a bit like a past life regression, but I didn't really, like do like the full regression. It was just going into meditation with that question. And so I started getting very clear visuals pretty much right away. And I saw myself in a magical forest with other elemental beings. I think I was dancing with an elf, but there are other beings like fairies around us, and unicorns maybe as well. And so that was a very vivid vision that felt like more than just imagination. It felt like this is home, like I've been there before. Another thing that comes to mind is that was way longer ago, and that wasn't something I was really aware of back then. But when I saw The Lord of the Rings the first time, I mean, that was like 20 years ago or longer. Yeah, when I saw the elves there and how they lived, that was a very similar feeling. Like, this is more than just imagination, like somebody just made that up. It's like, I feel like I've been there before. Like, I can feel it. And yeah, so those were just some early experiences. And then I just kept going deeper. And as my gifts opened up, I was able to connect with the Akashic records really easily and spontaneously, often just by asking the questions, without even needing to go into like a meditation, depending on what I was connecting with or what questions I was tuning into. And then also when I came back to Canada in 2012, I remember just spending so much time in nature and walking through the forest and almost seeing like an overlay of other realms where I was walking. And so there are lots of different experiences, but yeah, those memories just started coming back more and more, and it just feels like a really important part of my being, and also part of what I'm here to share with the world.
Yeah, beautiful. So, I mean, there's lots of people that love being out in nature, but they've never really connected with elementals, with fairies, with trees. If someone wanted to, what would be the basic way that they could actually connect with maybe a fairy, a tree, or some kind of elf, or any elemental, really?
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be very different for everyone, because we all have different ways of connecting with our intuitive senses or with the other realms. And I'm sure you're familiar with this too, Ray. Even when it comes to communicating with angels, it's the same thing. Everyone has different ways of receiving intuitive information. So meditation is one that I think works for a lot of people, and there are some really great guided meditations out there. You can find them on Spotify and just do a search, probably some on YouTube as well. So that's one I would definitely suggest if you really want to connect more on that psychic, intuitive level. And the other thing, definitely spending time in nature. And if you're really sensitive to energies, you might be able to just tune in more spontaneously as well. And you can even ask the fairies to connect with you or to show you like what the best way for you is to connect with them. There's so many ways, and there are teachers who would probably suggest things like, little rituals and bringing them gifts and chocolate and things like that. I haven't personally done a lot of that. I don't feel like I need to do that, but there are people who like to do that. So there are a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I always think one of the best things is just go and hug a tree and just literally let your mind go free and hug a tree. I think that to me that's one of the best ways of connecting with nature, with the elementals, because you just become part of it. which I think is absolutely amazing. So, I mean, because I know when you set up the business to do the decks, a lot of the decks are very elemental, aren't they? They're on that kind of like not fantasy but etheric design. Did you set up the company for that particular type of card, or is it just that the people that are drawn to you fit into that energy?
That is a really great question, because this is actually something I've been contemplating a lot lately. The short answer is I actually started this business for my own self-publishing ventures about 13 years ago now, in 2012, 12 years ago. And I mean, I was connecting with elemental energies. I was also working with the angelic realms. But when I started doing this work for clients, I guess I did draw in people who were already familiar with my work and who resonated with things that I was sharing previously. And so there were definitely quite a few people who really connected with the elemental realms as well. Over the years, I've done a lot more so many different kinds of decks. Definitely a lot that are not so much aligned just with the elemental realms. But I have been feeling more recently that that is a part that I want to reintegrate more. And so I'm probably going to niche down a little bit more with the work, because I'm also, I mean, my business is always evolving and we are all always evolving, but a big vision that I have is actually moving more towards a more traditional publishing business. So where I'm not just creating the products for clients and then they go off and it's basically their product and they're responsible for selling it and marketing it. And there are a lot of advantages to doing it that way as well. But the more traditional publishing model would be me receiving submissions from authors or maybe inviting authors to work with me. And then I'm responsible for producing the deck or the book or whatever it is, and then putting it out there and putting it out there for everyone all across the globe, ideally. But with that, I feel like I'm re-envisioning a little bit more like what I want to focus on in the long run. I feel the elemental realms, that's a really important part of it. And then the new earth, that theme, that's another one that's connected as well. But so there are probably going to be some types of decks that I might not want to more, just to focus a little bit more on that niche. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we lost you for a second.
Yeah, I lost you. I lost you for a second, but I could still hear you. So even though you had a nice screen, we could still hear you absolutely clearly on that one. So I suppose then if you kind of like do niche down a little bit, that would then give you the time to actually do more of the publishing side of it, because you won't be working with as many authors. It would be more select, because they fall into that niche, which obviously would tie with with the energy that you're creating at the moment, especially as you've started to create your deck. And I've just noticed that Nancy has said, I always consider myself as a nature girl. I was raised in the woods and had a deep connection to the trees and animals. I also have had many incarnations in Ireland. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I remember when I first started connecting with my past lives, Ireland was actually one of those memories that came through as well. And I definitely feel there's a lot of elemental energy there as well. Yeah, fairies. I mean, a lot of fairies.
Yeah, they are definitely there. And of course, as you're talking about fairies, this new deck you're working on, So how did that one come about?
Yeah, so this has been a long time coming. I mean, I've been feeling for a while that I need to be coming back to creating a little bit more space for my own projects because I've been so focused on helping my clients birth their decks into the world, and so that's been part of my journey for a couple years already. I've been starting to free up more space, and just in connection with what you just said as well. So yeah, freeing up space is part of this process, but also just realigning with my passions more. And I've actually started creating other income streams in my business that allow me to free up space so I can also reconnect with my passions more. But the fairy deck, this specific deck that we're working on now, that started coming through more specifically maybe back in September. I remember my partner and I were house and dog sitting on a really beautiful private island in northern Ontario, looking after two poodles. And it was this really magical world. Like we had our own island, and it's very similar to the West Coast in some ways, with all the beautiful trees and moss everywhere and mushrooms. And so that just started coming through very clearly there. And I started channeling through the ideas for the cards, and then things just started becoming more clear. But yeah, so it just felt very strongly that that's what I needed to do, and also that it was time to do it now. And so I decided to just fully commit to that and go for it. And now we're working on it.
Oh, wonderful. So when do you think it's going to be ready to be birthed into the world?
I'm hoping around next spring. So I'm planning on doing a Kickstarter campaign, and there's certain, yeah, like considerations. One thing I want to do is order some samples from my printer before we run the Kickstarter campaign, and they're overseas and they'll all be shutting down for their holidays from mid January to mid February approximately. So the goal is to have all the designs done by around the time they come back, and then order the samples. So ideally have the samples around the beginning of March, and then we'll see if we have to fine tune anything. But hoping to go live with the Kickstarter around mid March, and then so around mid-April, sometime in April, maybe placing the order. So there's some flexibility there, but I'm definitely hoping to do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no, and it'll be an ideal time to sort of like, to come out. I did, before the summer solstice, which would be, that would be a brilliant date, wouldn't it? Elementals on the summer solstice, it would be like, wow, amazing on that one. So how would you find, so you've got an artist working with you, I'm a designer. So how, with the designs of the cards, do you have the pictures in your head? Do you know how you want them to look, or are they being downloaded? Are they from actual places that you've been? Because as I said, I watched all the videos that you used to put on, which were absolutely amazing, with the streams and everything like that. So how does the design or the pictures on the card, how they come about?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of everything, but I do have an illustration brief that's pretty detailed, and yeah, it's very different depending on who I work with too. I mean, client projects, every client will be different, but for me, I do have pretty clear visuals because I've also created art myself, and so I have a pretty specific process that I like to go through. But I know for the illustrator I work with, for her, it's also helpful to know what I'm envisioning. So we don't have to go back on the illustrations, a million times, because yeah, she sends me something and I'm like, this is not what I was envisioning. So I do try to be pretty clear. And sometimes the visuals come through right away, or I might just have the words initially and then I may need a bit of time to bring them through. But now I have a spreadsheet with all the card titles, the messages that will be on the cards, and like a general idea of what the card is about, and then more input for what I actually want the illustrations to look like. And a lot of them are inspired by my journey too. I like to bring in elements of landscapes that I enjoy, or even pets or animals that that I like, that I know have been part of my life, or things like little personal elements for sure, and that are more part of my personal story. And so these will probably be things I'll be sharing more about once the cards are out. But
so it'll be like
yeah.
it'll be like a little Easter egg thing when you see the cards. It'll be like, okay, so where did that bit come from? It'll be kind of like,
Exactly. But also, of course, my illustrator, she's really intuitive as well, and so she'll also feel into the energy of what I'm communicating. And sometimes the card ends up looking very different from what I was imagining, but it's totally perfect. And so that's great too. Feel like giving her a fair amount of freedom too, so she doesn't feel too restricted, and she still has the freedom to, channel through whatever wants to come through as well.
Yeah, and I think that's that's a good way to work. And when you find somebody who's also using their intuition as well, and sometimes that intuition taps in quite nicely, because everything always sort of like comes into alignment. And with that in mind of things, the way the energy works and everything, as you know, I normally offer my guests to do pull an angel oracle cards, do a mini guide meditation from them. But I know when people have their own decks, see, I like to ask them if they'd like to do a card as well. So Anna, would you like to use your deck of cards? And these are Anna's cards. When did you create these cards that you're going to use for us?
Yeah, so the magical heart healing cards, they've been around for a long time. I actually created those. I started creating them about 12 years ago, and just towards the end of 2012. And I think I published them in 2014 for the first time. Now, this is a newer version that's, I think, from 2021. But yeah, they've been around for a while, but I still love them. I work with them every day. I still pull a card every day, and they've been really good at guiding me back to whatever I need to reconnect with on my journey every single day. The dogs are being really needy.
They are, aren't they? That's because they know you're about to pull a card, so they can feel the energy. It's like, oh, she's getting into energy where she's going to pull a card.
Yeah, they want to be part of the reading.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Okay.
I'll let you go first, because it'll be rude for me not to. Always let your guests go first.
Yeah, that sounds great. Another idea I actually had was if anybody wanted to give me a number between 1 and 44, I could technically pull a card from the new fairy deck. The only thing is I can't show it to you. So that would be another thing we could do.
Yeah, so let's do that. We won't have the picture, but those of you watching, and we'll go with the first number that comes in. So type in the number between 1 and 44, and whilst we're doing that, we'll use the other cards that you can see to actually get a message for you. So yeah, I'll let you go first,
Okay.
Anna.
I'll just go ahead and shuffle the deck, and I'm just asking for the most supportive and aligned message for us, for all of us right now, for everyone who's watching, everyone who's here with us live, and also anybody who may be watching the replay. What do we all need to hear and know right now? Okay, so this is the magical moment card. It's number 140. There are 142 cards in this deck, so
Wow.
there's only one after this. It starts at zero. So this card is about fairy magic and Cupid's surprise, but I always like to say, take what resonates. I'm going to read the message, and then I'm maybe just going to say what comes through intuitively as well. Sometimes it takes only one magical moment to transform your life in completely unexpected ways. You cannot control it. It just happens. And when it does, it makes you forget everything else. You couldn't have imagined it. Yet it is real, it is true, and it feels wonderful. The fairies are preparing you for an event of this kind. Can you feel how excited they are? This is how happy you will be very soon. And there's an affirmation / magic prayer at the bottom. As I let go of control, life becomes joyful and magical. So this is something I've really learned on this journey over the last 15 years or so. Just being so much more in the present moment. I've been talking a lot about manifesting as well, but I really have my own approach to it as well. And one thing I've learned is often it's not so much about figuring out how to create something or even being overly attached to specific goals. Sometimes the best we can do is just be a lot more in this present moment and really learn to enjoy the journey and allow life to surprise us. And there's a magic that happens. Things can come to us very easily and spontaneously, often things that we may have been envisioning for a long time, but sometimes also just getting our mind out of the way and just allowing life to surprise us can bring us this experience of seeing that there's something bigger than what we can imagine with our minds, and sometimes it's much better than what we could have even asked for, or like goals that we've set for ourselves. So I invite you to play with that and just basically cultivate that energy of openness and just welcoming the surprises.
Oh, wonderful. And I love the fact that the card kind of like brought in the fairy element as well for that, which I thought was absolutely amazing. So let's see what my card has. And again, it's the same as Anna's as to what does everyone need to know for, and Anna and everyone need to know for their highest good at this moment in time, whether watching live or the replay. And Mawaka says energy is contagious, and she also says about that message that was so beautiful, which was lovely. And nobody's still put a number in yet. If you don't do it, then it'll be me that'll be choosing the number. But anyway, let's just see what the say. So they're going to make me choose. Beautiful. So we've got grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. I mean, isn't that a beautiful, beautiful card? Out in nature as well, and they are reminding us that, through gratitude and being grateful for being here on earth at this time, for being able to go out in nature, that gratitude just brings so much joy, not to us, but to everything that we connect with as well. Because when we have that gratitude for another person, for an animal, for a plant, for just being alive, that gratitude transforms into joy that affects that person, and then that gets sent back to us. So it's really reminding everyone watching, have gratitude for everything in your life at this moment, even the smallest thing, like being able to take a sip of water. just be grateful that you're able to do that and allow the water to do its beautiful, beautiful loving energy as you're being grateful for it. So I think that's an absolutely beautiful card that's come out for you and everyone who's watching live or the replay, Anna. So we do have a number, and Janeki has said 44.
Of course. So I don't even have to look that one up. It's number 44 is the Guardian of the Fae, and it's really the angelic card of the deck as well. It's actually going to be a dragon in this deck, but it's also the guardian angel energy. So the message of this card is you are protected, nothing can harm you. And I don't have anything else to read yet, but I'm just gonna maybe tune in for a moment and see what wants to come through. Also in connection with the New Earth theme, I feel this is a really important one right now. There's so much chaos in the world right now. A lot of people are living in a lot of fear as well, and this is just a reminder to come back to the truth that we are all eternally connected to the truth source of our own being that really connects us all. We are all part of that, and nothing that we see externally, no matter how dramatic and frightening it might seem, can really take us away from that or can take away any of our power. And so even though we might, we can call in guardian angels to protect us, but it's all part of our own being as well. It's just remembering that the power is within us. And I feel that's a really, really important message that we all need right now more than ever, no matter what's happening in the world or in our own lives as well. There's nothing that can really harm us, and we're really being called to, through that reflection, also to step back into our own power and know that the divine is within us, and we're really safe and protected at all times. And yeah, there's more I could say, but
no, that was absolutely beautiful. And Janeki's side, now everyone else is putting numbers in there.
Yay, I love it.
Okay, so number 3. Waka says number 3.
Okay, number 3 is the Fairy Sisters card, and that one's already done. But I guess I can't show it to you right now.
No.
It's the message on the card is cultivate supportive friendships, connect and collaborate. So just relating that back to the New Earth theme as well, that's a really important one, remembering that we are all connected, and especially for us sensitive light beings, we can feel very sensitive to the energies in this world and feel really comfortable being in our introvert hermit space. And so this is just a reminder that we are not alone on this journey, and also to connect with like-minded others and cultivate those supportive connections, because we're not here to create anything on our own. Such a big piece of bringing in this new reality that we're here to create is to really connect and create this together, and knowing that we all bring our own gifts, and there are things that we're good at and maybe some things that we're not so good at, and then we can allow other people to help us with that. And but also just opening our hearts and connecting on that more human level as well is really important and healing for us at this time as well. And again, so much more I could say.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely fine. And the last one, I promise you it's the last one, number 17.
Okay, number 17 is the medicine journey. Embark on a vision quest. Work with magical medicines for healing and insight. Okay, well, there's so much I could say about this one. I've been working with, magical medicines a lot this year. Not a lot, but I've gone on some journeys and received a lot of really insightful wisdom. But we don't even really have to talk about a specific kind of medicine. So this is, okay, let me just tune in for a second. This might mean more specifically. Yeah, so mushrooms are coming through specifically. But the wisdom of the mushrooms really is about connection as well. And I'm really getting this visual of the trees in the forest and how they're all connected through the mycelium underneath. And like, trees are such a good example of how everything in this world is connected, and they exchange information and even nourishment through their roots and through the network of the mycelium and all of that. But there's a medicine there that can also help us create new connections, even that are helpful in reprogramming and deprogramming our own subconscious beliefs and any limitations that we may have taken on, whether it's through our own trauma or experiences or from society or upbringing or anything like that. So yeah, like, even if you don't feel called to, ingest anything, if I just want to say it that way, like, you can connect with the energy of that medicine, and there's so much beauty there as well. Yeah, like really rewiring, creating new networks and new connections that are actually supportive of what we are here to create in a totally new way. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that absolutely does. And Janeki says, bless you, so very special. And yes, factual wisdom, this is a fun ride. And I can love that. I'm a sensitive introvert. And Janeki says, oh my God, I might need to buy this deck. Yeah, it's just from those three cards, it does sound like an amazing deck. And what the beautiful thing is with those numbers, they all represent really what this show is about, which is about connecting to the angelic realms, the elementals, the dragons, the esoteric realms. It is about creating community with each other, and it is about networking and connecting people and information to each other. So it's just amazing that those cards actually came out that are connected to the show as well. You just can't make these things up.
Yeah.
You never can. So Anna, do you have any insights or thoughts or last words of wisdom to leave our viewers?
Let's see if there's anything else that wants to come through. Yeah, so maybe just one piece that I was going to mention earlier about working with the elementals. I think one thing that they're so good at is also helping us reconnect with our inner child. And we have so much wisdom, innate wisdom within ourselves. We come into this world with so much already inside of us that then gets trained out of us. But we have all the magic within us, and a big part of that is reconnecting with the joy of the inner child as well, and just not taking things so seriously, remembering that we are here to play. In a way, everything that we're doing here on this planet is a game, and that can also give us a totally different perspective on things. And just remember that we're all playing our own games as well. And just when we start taking it too seriously, then it can start getting uncomfortable. But when we remember that it's all, it's not really meant to be that serious, then we can play in a different way, and we can really enjoy the journey and also create with a lot more ease and really access that magic that's within all of us.
Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely brilliant words. So thank you so much for that. So I hope everyone that you've enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful, because I know I definitely have. So if people want to connect with you, Anna, how do they do that? And do you have anything coming up at the moment, or any gifts or offers to share? I mean, obviously the deck will be coming out. So yeah, how do people connect with you?
Yeah, I'll just share a couple things. So first of all, if you're interested in the deck, I just put up a kind of a pre-launch page on my website. You can just go to annafrolik.com, and then you'll find at the very top of the page, you'll find a place where you can click and you can sign up for my mailing list to get notified when the Kickstarter goes live. I'll be putting up a pre-launch page on Kickstarter pretty soon, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do that yet this week because it's a longer process than I thought. So that's what I have so far. The other thing is, if you're interested in creating your own card deck, you can go to wonderlandpublishing.net. You'll find a lot of resources there. There's a free download that you can access that walks you through the 5 most important steps to birth your own deck into the world. And you'll also subscribe to my mailing list there, where you'll get access to current and new offers that will be launching in the new year. The offer that I'm most excited about right now is the Deck Creators Launchpad, which I put together with my business partner, Heath Armstrong. We've been working on it for more than a year, but we launched it back in September. So this is a new way of working with us, and more of a membership setting where we have a community and courses that you can access and all of that. So it's been really awesome, really excited, and that's going to be a big part of what I'm going to be focusing on this coming year as well. Yeah, everything else you'll find on my websites, so annafrolik.com and wonderlandpublishing.net.
And what I'll do is I'll put those links in the comments so people can just literally click on them so they can find you straight there. And you're obviously on Instagram and Facebook as well. Are you still on YouTube?
I have a few YouTube channels actually. So I have the very old one. I haven't been very active on that one. I have one that's a bit of a different theme. I've just been sharing my journey there, like my adventures. And then I have one for
which do check out, because the journeys and the videos were amazing.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy those. And then I have one for the publishing business as well, Wonderland Publishing.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Nancy says, definitely natural medicine and wisdom from the trees are part of my journey. Many blessings. Absolutely perfect. So thank you so much, Anna, for sharing your wisdom. It's been an absolute pleasure having you back on the show with us. And I think definitely once the deck is out and everything, we'll definitely get you back on. And of course, I'd love to invite anyone watching to a free live 20-minute Soul Path Discovery one-to-one call with me, where during our time together, we'll pull a couple of angel oracle cards to gain clarity on what's happening in your life right now and what guidance your higher self and the angels may have for you. And if you feel called, I can also share with you how we could work together, whether through past life regression to heal deep-seated patterns, future life progression to reveal your most aligned path, or angelic Reiki for transformative healing at every level of your being. You know, this will be your opportunity to heal deeply, connect to your soul's gifts, and step confidently into the life you're meant to live. So let's start this powerful journey together. And again, I would like to thank everyone so much for watching and joining in the conversation. I'd love to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more people who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you. And if you are watching this on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, then please do subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to be notified of when this show goes live, or my other show, Oracle Card Meditation, Your Weekend Reset, which goes out live every Friday at 3 p.m. Or I post new guided meditations. You know, I do have a meditation on there to connect with your with your dragon, with your guardian angel, you know, so do check those out. And don't forget, every time you subscribe, like, share, or comment on any of my posts, channels, Anna's, or any of my guests, you really are helping build that community and getting our messages out there to bring the positive energy into the world, bringing that community together, you know, that butterfly effect of everyone, you know, gaining the wisdom and the knowledge and sharing it between everyone. And I look forward to you all joining me again, same time, same place next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.